This is the full weekly reading for thinkers, feelers, doers, and builders. Hi, I'm Lori. I'm a tarot card reader and a spiritual counselor. And each week I share intuitive messages to help you connect with your inner guidance. And in my work with clients over the years, I've discovered something. Each person tends to live life on one of four pathways: as a thinker, a feeler, a doer, or a builder. And if you'd like to find out which path is your pathway, there's a free quiz in the description below. It's a lot of fun, and each of those paths connect with a suit in the tarot. The thinkers to the swords, the feelers to the cups, the doers to the wands, and the builders to the pentacles. And most of us naturally lean toward one. Some of us have two that we switch between, but the truth is we have all four within us. And this is an organic system. So if one week you are more in your head and thinking about things, listen to the thinker reading for the week. If one week you're in a lot of motion and movement and trying to get things done, listen to the doer reading for the week. It moves with you. You can always default as well, like I said, to your primary pathway. All right. So this week's theme is a fun one. I kept getting an image of somebody putting on the brakes, but they weren't supposed to be putting on the brakes. So this week's theme is about, where are you putting on the brakes when you should be stepping on the gas and moving forward? Where are you unnecessarily tapping the brakes? So let's take a look at the cards for this week. We're going to begin with my thinkers, people who tend to live their lives through their intellect. So let's see how my thinkers are or need to take their foot off the brakes. You know, things are pretty balanced this week for my thinkers, but it does show that somebody's going to come back around. Somebody's going to try to get your attention. And where you need to take your foot off the brake is with your inner criticism. You know, you don't have to block them completely. You can start by sharing what your expectations are. And what that's going to do is that's going to let you determine whether or not you open the door or close the door. It does show that you're at the point right now where you're ready for this. So I don't feel like, it's not showing me that now is the wrong time to open the door, but you have to understand what you're opening the door for. And part of this is not just putting your foot on the brakes and denying it to deny it because you're overthinking. It is showing that you'll know what direction to head in. And it is showing that the other person is still not emotionally in a space where they are feeling grounded. So they're all over the place. It is showing that it is meant to be an exercise for you in the ability to say what you would like. So it's an opportunity for you to communicate in a different way. And it does feel like for you, you just want a friendship. You don't want anything more. And you need to clearly communicate that, because it does feel like the other person may have bigger feelings, or they might want more time or more attention from you than you're willing to give. So it's not saying put on the brakes and say no. It's saying take your foot off the brake and allow yourself to use this as an opportunity to set some boundaries and to effectively communicate your wants and your needs. Okay. Now I'm going to look at the message for the feelers. And these are people who tend to move through life through their hearts. So where do my feelers need to take their foot off the brake this week? Oh, it is showing that, You need to take your foot off the brake and you need to get back in line with your hopes and dreams. And I know you've been going through some kind of a shakeup lately, but what it's saying is don't forget your hopes and dreams. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know, it's take your foot off the brakes as far as remaining stuck because you're using the excuse that everything will not turn out just like whatever just happened. History will not repeat itself. It is showing you've learned your lesson. Now you can tell when somebody is not going to come through with what they said they were going to come through with. And you know how to regulate yourself. It is showing you're going to second guess yourself this week, and you're not going to see possibilities, and you're going to shut down to a very important possibility if you don't take your foot off the brakes. It's saying have fun. If you get into a space of enjoyment, of playfulness, that's what's going to help you take your foot off the brakes. It is showing that right now it's important to understand how far you have come, like even in the past 2 weeks. And it's showing that it's okay to step back and think about something, but just temporarily, like step back and take a beat, take a couple breaths. Don't step back for weeks on end. It is showing you to keep moving forward and keep believing in your hopes and dreams, keep believing in possibility. Yes, you had a setback, but it's showing that as a result of this setback, things are going to open up in an even better way. So don't get frustrated and feel like you have to just go really slow and really slow and really slow, because I feel like you're going to be given an opportunity this week and you're going to want to pump the brakes because it's going to sound too good to be true. But the truth is, it's a good opportunity for you. So ground yourself so that you don't miss this opportunity. All right. Next, I'm going to do the reading for the doers, my people who tend to move through life through movement and motion and momentum. Where is it that you need to take your foot off the brakes? Although naturally, by nature, you're always going. And it's more like having you put your foot on the brakes a little bit. Regardless, where are you being invited to put your foot on the brakes, or not put your foot on the brakes, rather, this week? Where are you being asked to take your foot off the brakes? And that is your fear of failure. It's saying stop letting that fear of failure stop you. You're using it as an excuse to kind of pump the brakes and not go in a direction that you went in before. It is showing that your needs will be met on a financial level and an energetic level if you move forward. You are limiting yourself by allowing yourself to be triggered and by bringing the past into right now. It is showing that look at the support that's being offered in regards to this offer, and also be willing to look at the fact that you keep looking over your shoulder. Take your foot off the brakes by stopping the need to look over your shoulder and look into the past. That's how you can take your foot off the brakes. Stop going into the past. Stop worrying about things unnecessarily. Stop thinking that history is going to repeat itself. It does show that there is forgiveness that's needed here. Financially, things will work themselves out. So if you loaned money to somebody or you're looking to recoup something financially, a path's going to open up for you to be able to do that. Just have faith in that, because the right kind of support is showing up for you and it's going to inspire you. So it's saying stop looking in the rearview mirror. Stop looking at what happened, because that is what's going to make you stop everything, and you're going to be putting your feet both feet actually on the brakes. And you know that feeling when you're driving and if you suddenly brake and you like jerk, your whole body jerks? That's what you're going to do to yourself this week. If you keep looking at the past, you're going to miss the opportunity to move forward and to figure out a way to financially recoup that's not going to exhaust you. So persevere just a little while longer, my doers, because it will work itself out. Finally, I'm going to give a message for the builders. And those are the people who tend to move through life through creating structure and stability. This is how you can take your foot off the brakes this week. I love that, taking your foot off the brakes. You know, for my builders, it feels like it's not about taking your foot off the brakes and immediately stepping on the gas. I mean, stepping on the gas. It's more like take your foot off the brakes and let yourself coast for a little while. It is showing that it is important to kind of reassess the direction you're going in, but you are more than equipped and you are balanced and you are ready. Go into action if you want, but then wait and see how it's received and then go into another action. It is showing that I feel like in the past, somebody didn't pay attention to a detail. And so something got delayed as a result, or you had to wait on something, or you couldn't move with something or go through with something because someone didn't see to the details like they promised. And now you're being given the green light or the go ahead. It is showing that it'll pick up more momentum in August. That's when you'll really see a shift and change. Don't shut down to the person. You can take your foot off the brakes and trust that the person learned their lesson. You can take your foot off the brakes this week and coast and trust that they will play their part the way they're supposed to next time. It is showing, so, you know, it's about remembering that sometimes people really learn by screwing up. And I feel like the other person is having had an oh crap moment and they really got it and they're not going to do it again. They are going to pay attention to the details. So trust in that. And it does feel like by trusting in them, you are taking care of yourself because it's also going to free up time for you as well. So just be patient, practice patience this week. How you can take your foot off the brakes this week is by giving someone a second chance. Very, very important, because the cards are saying, remember when you were given a second chance with something. You may have screwed something up. You really got it, and you didn't ever make that mistake again. Feels like the other person in this equation that you're dealing with is going through the same experience. So give them the benefit of the doubt. So if something in this reading opened up a question that you would like to explore further, I'd love to meet with you in a one-on-one session. And the link to do that is in the description below. I'd love for you to add in the comments what area of your life you feel like you can stop stepping on the brakes. Where can you stop stepping on the brakes in your life? Where would you like to commit to doing that this week? And if you want to go deeper with your specific type, a thinker, a feeler, a doer, or a builder, each type now has its own playlist, and they're all linked below. Monday through Thursday, each type gets their own reading. Subscribe so you don't miss out, and I'll see you in the next one. Mwah. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.